Welcome to a windy Viking Stadium here in Rexburg, Idaho, as today the Dixie Rebels get ready to invade the homecoming of the Ricks College Vikings. Hi there, everybody. Rod Zundel here in a windy and gusty and dusty southeast Idaho, as it's a battle of two top-ranked teams in the nation. The Dixie Rebels ranked 4th in the country and 3-0, coming off a win last week against the College All-Stars, taking on the Vikings, ranked number 1 in the nation, coming off a big win last week against Mesa Community College, 45-13. Joining me is my partner, Alema Harrington, and Alema, with two top 5 teams in the nation. This could decide the national championship today.
Oh, they're excited about this game for a couple of reasons. Number one, as you mentioned, national championship implications. The winner of this game has a direct line to the national championship. Both teams looking for their first. Number two, they're looking for a good game. They play a lot of weak teams in this conference. It's over in the first quarter. They will play 4 quarters of good football today.
Now, contrasting styles for both sides of the ball. On the offensive side for Dixie, they like to run the ball, but quarterback Quinn Hampton will have to step up and hit some key passes, especially in this win. He's completed 43% of his passes for 4 touchdowns, but Dixie really looks to run the ball a lot.
Oh, yeah, they will run by committee today. Their running backs are all solid. Aaron Sane out of Skyline High School, or just a freshman, very happy with him. They also have Banks, Jones. Everybody can run the ball with this team. So they'll put the ball on the ground and they'll be successful.
Now on the defensive side, you want to keep an eye on number 47, Anton Fowler. 2 years ago, he was a starter for Ricks College, an all-conference player, and then he transferred to Dixie. He's being reunited with his team tonight.
He is. It's homecoming for Ricks, and it's homecoming for Palipoy. He was in the locker room earlier, and I saw him talk to him a little bit. The coaches from Ricks came by and didn't say much to him, but he has a lot of reunions that are going to take place on the field today.
Now, in contrast, the Ricks College Vikings, like a mini BYU, they love to throw the ball. Ryan Harris is the catalyst. 62% completions on the year, 5 touchdowns. He has a lot of receivers to throw to.
And one of them is that will come out of the running back. Ross is very successful. They throw the ball well to everybody, including the tight ends. They've got 2 great tight ends. A lot like BYU, you'll see a lot of distribution.
And like BYU, they have a solid defense as well. Donnie Allred, who attended Bear River High School, solid, the anchor and the linebacker corps.
And Allred, he will come up and hit you. He will set the tone for this game. Look for him to be excited to play.
And we are all set to get this thing underway. The opening kickoff coming up in just a bit. Number 4, Dixie, and number 1, Ricks. Big-time football, junior college, coming your way on KCSG. Welcome back to Rexburg, Idaho, Viking Stadium, just moments away from the opening kickoff. Ricks College and the Dixie Rebels, it's homecoming for the Ricks College Vikings, and then Dixie would love nothing better than to come up here on that long bus ride and to get an upset over a number 1 ranked team in the country.
No question about that, and both of these teams have done this to each other. They've played homecoming games against one another over the years a number of times, and the crazy thing about it is a lot of times the visiting team has won the game.
Rod Zundel along with Alema Harrington bringing you all the action from Rexburg, Idaho. Now, Ricks has won 8 of the last 9 times these two have met. Now, the last time that a home team has won was back in '93 when Ricks beat Dixie right here in Viking Stadium. So just because you're at home, you don't have the home court or the home field advantage.
Especially in this game, and especially today. We've mentioned the conditions a couple of times, but we're talking winds upwards of 50 miles an hour, and they're just gusting through here. We watched the coin toss just a minute ago, and he flipped the coin up in the air, and it flew maybe 10 feet.
And also another problem is it's very dusty. It's harvest time here in southeast Idaho, and the wind is blowing dust from the fields and is coming right around here to the stadium. You probably do not have more than a quarter-mile visibility range here. So I saw earlier one of the quarterbacks for Ricks College threw a pass in warm-ups and then covered his eyes because he had dust in his eyes. So conditions not favorable to the passing game, and we talked to Coach Croshaw about that moments ago, and he said that they hope to run the ball better than the Ricks College Vikings because it's going to be tough to pass the ball in these conditions.
And that might be the advantage that Ricks will have today, is the fact that they do have a more balanced attack. They can run the ball if they need to. They can pass the ball if they need to. Depending on what direction the wind is going, they can take advantage of that as well. But they will do both today, and they'll try and do it successfully. And we talked to them. They try and go 55% throwing the ball, 45% on the ground. We may see that shift a little bit because of the conditions.
This rivalry began back in 1951. This is the 55th meeting between these two teams. Ricks leads this series 36-18, and like we said, the Vikings have won the last 8 of 9 games between these two teams, and so it'll be interesting to see. It's number 1 versus number 4, top 5 showdown. This is what college football is all about. It's kind of like they compare this to a mini BYU-Utah rivalry series.
A lot of similarities. If you look down at the uniforms, maybe last year if you looked at the uniforms, now that BYU has that new darker blue. But if you look at the uniforms, of course, you have Ricks in that BYU old blue, and then you have Dixie in that Utah red. So there's a lot going into the rivalry that has been going on for a lot of years here.
Ricks won the toss, but they have deferred, so they will kick off to Dixie, and we'll see the offense for the Dixie Rebels to begin this game. We're about set. Junior college football, the Rebels and the Vikings, number 4 versus number 1. Ethan Ross back to receive the kick for the Rebels. Edmonds kicks it off, and it's into the end zone and bobbled there. And so it will be a touchback. The Rebels will begin play at their own 20-yard line. Cody Waite back there to field the kickoff. Now let's set the offensive starters for the Dixie Rebels. Quarterbacking this club is number 14, Quinn Hampton. Quinn Hampton, a 6', 185-pounder from Spanish Fork High School. 25 of 58 on the year. He's thrown 4 touchdown passes, also ran for 1 touchdown. He has Banks in the backfield in the tailback position. Aaron Sane, the fullback. Receivers to the both sides. The handoff is to Sane. He gets a couple of yards, and that's about it for Aaron Sane on the first play of the game. All right, let's go to the rest of the offensive starting unit. There you see the offensive lineman, Bastian, Brent Hogan, Seth Little anchors this offensive line. John Banks, the guy to watch, the tailback. He's the second leading rusher on this team, and he can break it away if he gets an opening.
That's what they want to do. They want to just get him through the first line of defense and into the secondary and let him do his stuff.
2nd and 7, and flags on the play. This thing will be blown dead before they were able to get it off. Quinn Hampton clapping, so it might have been offsides on the Ricks College Vikings, and that's what it was. So early break for the Dixie Rebels.
They'll take every break that they can get because I'll tell you what, the way that they move the ball, they try and pound it down your throat. They do it just consistently. They might get 3 yards, they might get 5 yards, but they try and maintain a sustained drive as long as they can, and they'll try and go 80 yards and just run it consistently.
Coach Croshaw said before this game that he has to control the ball and keep the Viking offense off the field, and look for a ball control offense, but not here as Hampton will pass it, and he has nobody there. But now he has his tight end on a delay, and that is Aaron Ware, the leading receiver on this team, and he has the ball across the 40, but there is a flag on the play. This thing may be coming back, Alema.
From where the flag was thrown, I'm going to guess it was probably holding. I don't think that was set up to be a screen. It was a check off to the tight end, and they got it to him. And Ware is a great receiver at the tight end spot, probably their best. They were thinking that they will double him all day long, and but he was able to get open.
Aaron Ware has 8 receptions for 155 yards on the season. His longest is 53 yards. So there is a flag on the play, and it will be against the Dixie Rebels. And that will move them back deep in their territory. And they are going into the teeth of this wind, and that is not where they want to be, back in the shadow of their own goalpost.
It makes this opening drive that much longer. And I'll tell you what, you got a couple of opportunities for momentum in a game like this. You come out, you're hyped up because it's a rivalry game, but you got to establish your offense right off the bat, and that's one chance for momentum. You might get 2 other chances somewhere during the game, but you have to get it going early on.
That was a face mask on Dixie, and so now they will have 2nd and 17 at their own 13-yard line. Officials still conversing about something, trying to figure out where the ball should be spotted. But when we resume play here, we're off to a gung-ho start here. We've played less than a minute and ran a couple of plays. Here we go. We're ready to go. 2nd and 17. Banks is in the backfield. Aaron Sane, the fullback. Hampton's going to pass. He's got Aaron Ware across the middle. His big tight end has it and rumbles across the 25 out to the 27. So 2 straight times they've gone to their big tight end. Russell Kay makes the stop for the Vikings.
Take a look at the defensive starters for Dixie College, and for Ricks, that is. Donnie Allred, the linebacker, we talked about him already. He likes to come up and hit you. He had to sit out part of the last 2 games because of a knee injury, but he's feeling healthy, and he will be the leader.
Gain of 13 on the play, 3rd and 2. Hampton pitches to Banks, and Banks has nowhere to go, but he gets close to the first down on second effort near the 30-yard line.
Now, because of the wind and the concerns there, on 4th and short, you see we're trying to get up there. He's trying to pound. He knows where the first down marker is, and he gets there. Give credit to the offensive line. They got a bunch of big guys up there. They mowed down some people for him, and he was able to get the first down.
Second effort first down for John Banks as Josh Thompson in on the tackle for the Vikings. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Just underway here in Rexburg, Idaho. The Rebels and the Vikings. Number 1 in the country versus number 4. Hampton is going to the air again. Try to get the deep pass, the hitch and go, but it was covered well. Ethan Ross was the intended receiver, and Garrett White was there to defend Ross and did a very nice job. They tried to fake the pass on the short pass and then let him go deep.
And they'll do that all day, talking to Kelly Smith, who handles a lot of the offensive calls along with Gordon Jolly. They'll try and play action. They'll try and get you to suck up on the run. They won't try and nickel and dime you to death. They're going to try and beat you on the long ball.
Ethan Ross is the favorite receiver of Hampton for the Rebels. He's caught 8 passes for 154 yards. The handoff to Banks. Tries to break it around the right side and nowhere to go as he is brought down by Spencer Toon. Spencer Toon, a freshman from Blackfoot, Idaho, 6'2", 220-pounder, made the stop on Banks as he had nowhere to go.
And great job on the defense. He comes up, he has a chance to bounce it out, but look at the pursuit coming. Gets a little help. That's exactly what Ricks needs to do. They need to string out that play and then help each other out. They got it done.
It will be tough to run outside on the Ricks College Vikings. Coach Ron Hahn said this is the best linebacking group that he's ever had here in his 18 years, and he should know because he's won a lot of ball games, 81% of his ball games in those 18 years. Hampton hands off up the middle to Aaron Sane. He finds a little bit of room and gets close to the 40, across the 40, and he looks to have a first down, tackled by Garrett White of the Vikings, but there was a little bit of a delay up the middle to the fullback, and we knew that he was a good one from Skyline, and he's proving it now with the Dixie Rebels.
We saw him do this in high school out of the Skyline in Salt Lake City. A little quick draw that comes out, and Sane, not only can he make you miss, he will run you right over, and Garrett White, he paid the price.
And now Aaron Sane will take a breather on the Dixie sidelines. Another first down for the Rebels. They have moved the ball 21 yards now. It's 1st and 10. 11:28 remaining here in the first quarter. Hampton off to Banks. Banks tries to get outside, nearly breaks it, but he's hauled down at the 43-yard line. In on the tackle for the Vikings, Justin Poole, a 6', 190-pound freshman from Napa, Idaho.
I like Banks. I like the way he's running. You see that he's gotten caught on a couple of plays. One on the one where he bounced it outside. This one just barely gets caught, but he's very close. They'll hand the ball off to him a couple more times, see if he can break one. He'll get a chance to break one for a long yardage.
He averages 6.5 yards a carry. He scored 1 touchdown. His longest run is 20 yards on the season. 2nd and 8 after the gain of 2 by Banks. Hampton back to pass again. Across the middle, he's got a defender wrapped all over him. Russell Kay was just draped over Aaron Ware, but Aaron Ware was able to haul it in for another Rebel first down.
I'll tell you what, if Ware doesn't catch that ball, that is pass interference right there. They were dancing. That was the homecoming dance. You take a look at Ware. He sits in that zone, and he gets the pass even in traffic like that. That's a great job. That's why he's such an effective tight end.
Hey, and credit Quinn Hampton. He is just stringing that baby in there. He had to string that in between 2 defenders of the Vikings, and he's doing that into the teeth of this wind. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. Hampton going to pass again. He's going to go deep. He's got a man there. It's caught and dropped at the 13-yard line. Wyatt Gines had it in his grasp and then dropped it.
You know what? Great play by Ben Kofe there. Tight on the coverage, made the play right at the very last minute, then grabbed him by the jersey, made sure that he wouldn't come down with the ball. But a nice ball, well thrown.
Again, and we can't emphasize this enough, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, and that ball was thrown 35 yards on a dime.
I'm impressed.
I am too. I mean, this is not what Croshaw was thinking when he was putting up the game plan. At least that's what he told us. 2nd and 10 at the 45 for the Dixie Rebels. They go back to the run. Aaron Sane tries to find a place to make a move, and there's nowhere to go as a host of tacklers led by Anthony Ward for the Vikings make the stop.
He gets stopped right at the line of scrimmage, then almost looked like he lost the handle on the ball, and that stopped his forward momentum because he had to make sure that he had the ball secure before he could go anywhere else, and by that time they had him swarmed.
This Viking defense, they've only given up an average of 64 yards rushing a game. So they play pretty well against the rush and only 130 yards passing a game. And they've also had 3 interceptions. So this is a solid Viking defense, and the Rebels are going to have to execute precisely today to get what they want out of their offense. 3rd and 10 at the 45. Big play here for the Rebels. Looks like somebody jumped off sides, but they didn't flag him. Hampton's going deep again. The ball flutters into the wind, and they're going to call some sort of pass interference as the ball was intended for the tight end, Aaron Ware, and flags all over the place as about 3 Ricks College Vikings were there basically hanging on to Ware. Let's see what the call will be, and it will be pass interference, Ricks College. And I think the wind helped that call because it held up the ball, and they tried to time their hit, and the ball didn't get there like it normally would, and so they were able to get the hit a little bit early, resulting in a penalty. And it will be a first down, so another big break for the Dixie Rebels as they continue to move the ball into the Ricks College deep into their territory. It will be spotted at the 30, and the Rebels will have 1st and 10 from there.
I'll tell you, that always helps you out when you've got 3rd and 10. You don't get the pass completed, and you get the first down anyway. You got to love that. You're moving the ball, and you don't even have to move the ball.
1st and 10 at the 30. Ethan Ross to the left. Brian Mullen to the right. Hampton's going to pass again. Ethan Ross has it in the middle of the field, close to the 20, and he slips down at the 22-yard line. Ethan Ross, the favorite target of Quinn Hampton, makes his 2nd catch of the day. Josh Thompson in on the stop for the Vikings.
I've been impressed with the Rebels' passing attack. They're not known for it. They passed the ball a lot in this drive, and they had some crossing patterns going there. And you take a look. Here comes Ross out of the flanker spot, coming across the middle, and then he just picks and chooses, gets a nice block downfield, and he's got the first down.
That's Ross's.
Check that 2nd down.
That's Ethan's first catch of the day. He had one intended for him earlier. 2nd and 1 at the 21. Handoff to Banks. Has the first down as he powers his way across the 20 and close to the 18-yard line. Move the chains. 1st and 10, Dixie.
And this is exactly what the Rebels wanted to do, talking to their offensive coordinators. And what they wanted to do is, number one, they want to score. They want to sustain this drive, get a first down, get another first down, no matter how you get it done. But stay on the field and come away with points. The best thing that you can do right now as far as your defense is concerned is keep the Ricks offense off the field, and they're doing that.
And that's exactly what Coach Greg Croshaw wanted. Keep Ryan Harris and the Viking offense on the sideline watching. 1st and 10 from the 19. Hampton's going to pass again. The quick pass to Ethan Ross, a little bit too high, and it slides through his hands. Ben Kofe defending Ross on that play.
Similar situation about 3-4 years ago. They came and played in a windy stadium just like this, these two teams. And Ricks, similar situation. They decided to defer. They had the wind at their backs. And here's a look at the play. Just a quick shot out, timing pattern. The ball was thrown before he was even turned around, but they weren't able to get it. And what happened was Ricks never got on the field. They had 3 offensive plays with the wind to their back, and Dixie was on the field with their offense throughout the whole first half.
2nd and 10 at the 19. Hampton looking for Ethan Ross again, off the fingertips across the 10-yard line. Ross tried to make a diving grab but couldn't get there. Andrew Shirley, the defender on the play, but almost had another first down.
I think Ricks is a little bit surprised that they're throwing the ball so much. You see it. If that ball was right there, that would have been a first down.
3rd and 10 at the 19. So right now, it would be a 36-yard field goal into the teeth of this win, and Travis Blackwell is 0 for 2 in the field goal kicking category for the Rebels this season. Big play right here for the Rebels. Handed off to Aaron Sane up the middle. He's close to the first down, and maybe he got it with the extra effort as he bowled over a couple of Ricks College Vikings. Garrett White, who got knocked by Sane just a few plays ago, taking the brunt of that hit again.
This is great for Dixie right now. They're running the ball well. A great play call by the offense here. A passing down. You go to the quick hit up the middle. Aaron Sane, give him the ball, give him a little room, and he'll power for the first down. He did right there.
So far, Dixie has passed on the running downs, and they have run the ball on the passing downs. That's called mixing it up.
They've got a good scheme going on.
1st and 10. 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Dixie. Chance to draw first blood here in the first quarter. The handoff is to Tony Nelson. He gets down across the 5 to the 4-yard line. Tony Nelson, a sophomore from Alta High School, 5'10", 208-pounder. He averages 4.4 yards a carry. He has 1 touchdown on the season. So they have a number of running backs that they can go to, and I know that's what Coach Croshaw wants to see. A lot of his running backs keeping fresh and able to make some plays.
And that's exactly what you're talking about, keeping fresh. You can rotate them in, get this guy in here, give him a chance to run the ball. Nielsen with a nice run up the middle, gains 5 yards.
2nd and goal just inside the 5-yard line. Sane and Banks in the backfield behind Hampton. And somebody from Dixie on the left side moved. That was Jeremy Shufelt as the Vikings were jumping. And then Shufelt, the left tackle, big 6'7", 315-pound sophomore from Fremont. He kind of jerked, and with all that weight, he couldn't stop.
I'll tell you, if you're 6'7", 315 pounds, if you move even a little bit, they're going to notice. The ground shakes.
And we could see and feel that all the way up here. That will move the Rebels back to the 10-yard line, and that will be 2nd and goal as well again.
I'm a little surprised that's the first that they've had called on them, because if you notice, you've seen Ricks jump off sides a number of times. They're going on the cadence of the quarterback.
Hold on a second. They say that the Vikings were off sides before the movement. So here we are with Jeremy Shufelt. We apologize to Shufelt and your family because it was a penalty on the other side of the line. So that brings up 2nd and goal for the 2. Aaron Sane close to the goal line, but he's knocked back as he tried. He moved down to the 1-yard line, and then he was knocked back by Steve Gifford and A.C. Violetti.
Violetti's a tough player. I told you, we saw him with some big plays against Mesa last week, and he'll come up and hit you too. He and Donnie Allred are the kind of guys that they want to make the hit. They want to get the crowd into it. You take a look at this play. Here he's coming over from the linebacker. There he goes. Big hit right there, and then they push him back.
It looked at the first moment of daylight that he had the clear shot to the goal line, but then here come the defensive linemen for the Vikings. Hampton goes in on the quarterback sneak. Did he make it? There's still no call by the officials. The Rebels say yes, and now the officials agree. Touchdown, Quinn Hampton, and the Rebels have taken an early lead, 6-0 here in the first quarter. Boy, that was an impressive drive.
And a nice offensive call. Great job by the offensive coaches for Dixie. They mixed it up, as we mentioned, all the way down the field. They finished with a quarterback sneak. They got everybody involved. Now, the Ricks defense is sitting up in the booth saying, who do you stop?
Travis Blackwell now in for the extra point attempt. He is 11 of 12 on the season, going right into the teeth of the wind. And it is up, and it is good. So with 5:54 remaining here in Rexburg, Idaho, the Dixie Rebels draw first blood on a quarterback sneak from Quinn Hampton. The Rebels 7, the Vikings 0. Back with more Rebel football on KCSG. And welcome back to Viking Stadium in Rexburg, Idaho. The Dixie Rebels have taken a 7-0 lead over the Ricks College Vikings. 5:54 remaining here in the first quarter. Scored on a 18-play, 80-yard drive. They took the opening kickoff and went 80 yards. It took them 96 seconds. Mixing up the running and the passing, it was basically the way you drew it up at practice.
It was. And here we go, kickoff into the wind. What do you expect out of this?
Yeah, this is going to be
not a whole lot. Look, the receivers are about the 18-yard line to take this kick.
Travis Blackwell, and he lines one, and it goes out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Tyler Sharman, the running back, was there to receive that kick, but he had no chance. And, you know, that's probably the best thing you can do is kick it low and take your chances on going out of bounds. Also on that drive, Alema, the Rebels were helped by some miscues on the Ricks College Vikings defensive line.
It started out actually with Dixie being penalized. Taking a look at the touchdown, just a quick hit. Catch him off guard. They think it's going to the fullback, and you catch him real quick, jump in, you're in for the score, you're on the board. Talking about penalties, Dixie had that costly penalty that was a face mask that really made this drive more like a 90-yard drive for a touchdown. But Ricks was the one that really got hit. 4 penalties, 36 yards.
Ryan Harris is the quarterback for the Vikings. He has completed 62% of his passes, 5 touchdowns, 38 of 61 for 558 yards, and he has a plethora of receivers to throw to, so a lot of weapons for the Vikings. Ryan Harris, he's a good one. He's a sophomore, and he's being looked at by the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, so he may be in a Notre Dame uniform next season. 1st and 10 at the 35. Vikings now find themselves down by a touchdown. The handoff is to Tom Pace, their main running back, across the 35 up close to the 38-yard line for a gain of 3. That will bring up 2nd down and 7 for the Vikings. Tom Pace is a good one, Alema. He's very strong. He likes to break tackles, 5'10", 195-pounder from Mesa, Arizona. 2 touchdowns on the season. He's their go-to guy in the backfield along with Tyler Sherman.
And between the two, Sherman and Pace, they will probably give the ball to Pace when they decide to go up the middle.
2nd and 7. They give him a gain of 2 on that play. Harris has his pass batted down by the big guy, Junior Ciavi'i. The freshman, 6'5", 330-pounder from Samoa. Junior Ciavi'i, he's one of the big guys to watch today on the defensive line for the Dixie Rebels.
And they build him big in Samoa. This kid, just a freshman, how about that, 6'5", 309, able to have the presence of mind to get the ball up there. Some of these guys that come out of Samoa, they don't play a lot of football growing up, but he played for the Tafuna Warriors, and they play some good football down there.
Actually, he said he weighed 309, but I was in St. George, and Croshaw said, let's put you on the scale, over 330 pounds.
Wow.
He's much bigger than what the scorecard says. Harris back to pass again, a screen over to Tom Pace. Got a great block there across the 50, and Pace could go all the way. Tom Pace, and he's knocked down at the 6-yard line. A game-saving tackle by Cody Waite. Cody Waite showing the speed. He's the big hitter on this club, and he had to turn on the burners to try to catch Tom Pace, and he saved the touchdown at the 7-yard line.
Just an easy draw. You got to come up and sell it. He sells the draw. The rush comes. They've been successful with the rush, so they're excited. They get through, and then Pace wide open. Great block downfield. It's a foot race to the end zone. Wait with he had the angle and was able to get him. That was a touchdown-saving tackle there.
Bart Tusher, the center, made the block to spring Pace. He's a sophomore from Clearfield High School. 1st and 10, or 1st and goal at the 7. Handoff to Tyler Sharman, trying to get around the left side, and he is stuck by Cody Waite, the guy who just made that touchdown-saving tackle, come up on the line and just met Tyler Sharman head on, and Waite won that battle that time.
Waite's playing big right now. Dixie has to step it up down here in the red zone. Talked about momentum. They get a big play like that, Ricks does. You got to stop them. You got to stuff them. You got to let them know, hey, we'll let you get lucky every now and then, but you can't have a big play every time you touch the ball. Trying to get the ball outside. Tried to cut it up. They did a nice job stringing it out, and they shut it down.
Loss of 5 on the play. 2nd and goal from the 12. Harris Fakes a handoff across the middle. Ball is tipped and nearly intercepted. Ball was tipped at the line, and it was intended for Steve Empey, the tight end. And Dan Brigham had a chance to intercept that at the goal line, but slipped before he was able to make the catch. And there is a flag on the play, and this looks like it's going to be, well, it's going to be offsides on the Rebels, and so that will get that 5 yards back. They lost the play before.
So the defense is exchanging offsides penalties. You know, the first 14 plays for the Ricks offense are scripted. So they already know what they're going to run the first 14 plays of the game. We talked to Coach Hahn. He said, we don't deviate from that very much. They might if they have to, but you can count on them for the most part going with those 14 plays.
I think their third play of the game was a pretty good one, don't you?
I think it was good. I'd keep that one in there.
2nd and goal from the 7, back where they started. Sharman, the lone running back in the backfield, Pace the slot back. Harris is going to pass. And he overthrows his intended receiver, Steve Empey. Nice coverage by the secondary for the Dixie Rebels. Kyle Olson, the free safety, was guarding the big tight end. And Kyle Olson, 6 feet. Steve Empey's 6'4". That's a little bit of a mismatch. That's going to be a tough job for the defenders for the Rebels, is guarding those 2 big tight ends.
They'll try and take advantage of that. Look at Anton Fowler. Fowler coming in, trying to put some pressure. You know, he knows these guys. He wants to get in. He wants to make some noise. He at least rushed that pass.
3rd and 7 for a touchdown. 3rd and goal. Tom Pace, the lone back in the backfield. Harris is going to pass once again. Looking. He's got his tight end in the end zone, and they give him a touchdown. Tight end, Spencer Need. Touchdown, Ricks College.
That was classic Ricks offense right there. A little play action to the running back. And then you dump it off to the tight end, running a crossing route. Touchdown, Ricks.
So the Vikings come right back after the Rebels marched the opening kickoff in for the touchdown. And Aaron Edmonds will be on to attempt the extra point. This one is up with the wind, and it is good. So offensive fireworks here so far in the first quarter. The Ricks College Vikings have come back to tie this up. We're all knotted at 7 from Rexburg, Idaho. Have just tied this thing up on a 7-yard pass from Ryan Harris to his big tight end Spencer Need. 7 all, and on that drive it only took 1 minute 56 seconds, 6 plays, 65 yards. Edmonds with a kick, and he sails this one with the wind and out of the end zone. So the Rebels will now take over at their own 20-yard line. And last time they were in this spot, they marched 80 yards for the touchdown. And they mixed up their running plays and passing plays very effectively, Lemma.
Talking to Kelly Smith before this game, and he handles the running backs and the quarterbacks. He said they're going to try and pass the ball as much as they can. The times that they are successful, they do have to pass the ball. How about the Dixie quarterback, Hampton? 3 for 7, 37 yards, very effective.
And obviously the big pass play to Tom Pace on that screen to set up the touchdown. 1st and 10 at the 20. Hampton to Tony Nelson. Nelson getting around the left side. He'll pick up 2, maybe 3 yards as he's knocked out of bounds by Garrett White of the Vikings. But Garrett White, he's been an active defensive back. Nelson that time.
But give him credit for sticking his head back in there. Great job by the defense to string this play out. You can't let them get outside you. You can't let the running backs turn the corner. They string this play out. They keep it going. That's why this linebacker core is so solid.
A gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Pitch back to Nelson again, and this time he pounds his way up across the 25, maybe to the 26. Depending on where they spot the ball, it will be just inside the 25, a gain of 2. That will bring up 3rd and 5 for the Dixie Rebels.
And the Rebels now, with the success of their passing games, they can mix it up maybe they will go to the air right now. In the past, maybe they wouldn't have. But all you need to do is get your quarterback a little bit of confidence. Makes all the difference in the world.
It's going to be tough to get some confidence in this wind, though. I mean, the flag in the end zone is stiff. Twin receivers to the right side for Hampton. Banks and Sane in the backfield. The handoff is to Sane. He tries to get outside, but no doing as Steve Gifford, the linebacker, is there to bring him down. Aaron Sane tried to dance his way outside, but Steve Gifford, just a little bit too quick, would not let him get outside, and that will bring up the first fourth down of the game, and the Rebels will have to punt. Chris Anderson is the punter for the Dixie Rebels.
Great job by Gifford here. Steps up into the hole, gets a hold of Sane. Sane can break these kinds of tackles, but Gifford, nice job wrapping them up and getting it done.
Anderson averaged nearly 36 yards a kick. He has a long of 60, but this is going to be tough. Watch out and see how this ball reacts. It's up in the air, and it's going to fall down quickly at the 50 and bounce across the 40. Pretty good roll for the Rebels all the way down to the 35. And that's where the Ricks College Vikings will begin their second series of downs. We are tied at Rexburg, 7 apiece. Back with more Rebel football after this. 3 seconds remaining in the first quarter from Viking Stadium in Rexburg, Idaho. We're all tied at 7 apiece. Dixie just gone 3 and out on their second series, and now the Ricks Vikings will get it for a second time. Ryan Harris is the quarterback. Pace, the lone back in the backfield. Harris has a man across the 45-yard line, Jared Shufelt, but he was not able to hold on. It falls incomplete. That brings up 2nd and 10 for the Vikings. And another flag on the play, and another offsides on the Rebel defense.
That was just a side adjustment for Ricks. They lined up, they saw the defense, and Shufelt had just a direct line to the end zone. If he had made that grab, he had a lot of running room, but the pass just a little low.
Chappelle's a senior or a sophomore from Brighton High School. He's got 4 passes for 52 yards for an average of nearly 7 yards a catch. Also 1 touchdown on the year. First and 5 for the Vikings at their own 40-yard line.
And this is what Croshaw didn't want to see, and that's the Ricks offense on the field. He didn't want his offense to come on, go 3 and out, and give Ricks another opportunity. They would have loved to have come in and just finished off the first quarter and kept the ball. Whether they score or not is almost irrelevant. Just keep Ricks off the field.
First and 5 at the 40-yard line. Sharman and Pace in the backfield. That Ben Rex in motion. Harris is going to pass. He's looking deep, and he's got a man at the 20. It's caught, and it's caught for a touchdown. Ricks College. Pat Williams, a freshman from Bountiful High School, caught it at the 20 and went in for the touchdown, but this thing is going to be called back. Penalty, Ricks College.
We'll have to wait to see what the penalty exactly was, but when Ricks can do that easily, that's exactly why Croshaw doesn't want that offense on the field. You saw the quick play to Pace where he gained a lot of yards. Another big play right here. You got to keep this offense off the field because they can strike.
Well, the penalty will move the ball all the way back to the 30-yard line, a 10-yard penalty, and that will be 1st and 15 now. So the Vikings have had 3 first down plays here and nothing to show for it, except for a 5-yard loss.
That'll come right back, and they'll start again.
Twin receivers to the left. That's Sharman in motion. Harris is going to pass again. He slips, and they've got him back at the 25-yard line. Harris went back and he slipped, and then there was Dima Brzezinski, a freshman from Olympus High School, who was there to make sure he didn't get back up again.
That's a scary moment when you're a quarterback and you slip down like that. He was crouched down, and you have all that weight falling on you, and that's a big kid coming at you. You can jam your knee. You can even blow out your knee in a situation like that.
Preobrazhensky, interesting story. He came over from Moscow, Russia when he was 8 years old. And his parents speak little English. They have to have interpreters. And then he went to Olympus High School. And now he's playing for the Dixie Rebels. 2nd and 21, a loss of 6 on the play. Sharman has the ball, and he has nowhere to go as he is crunched just as he got to the line of scrimmage. Dan Brigham, the first guy there from his strong safety position. And he would not let Sharman go anywhere. And then a couple of other defenders came, and they just leveled him.
The last 2 times that Ricks has had big plays, Dixie steps up with big defense.
Sharman
nice
got
job.
it first.
They wrap him up, and a team effort to keep him down.
Preobrazhensky finished him off, and no gain on the play, 3rd and 20. Dan Brigham from Las Vegas, 6'4", 208-pounder. And he can hit you.
And he will hit you. And he likes to hit you.
Harris, the delay across to Tom Pace. He's got some running room. Across the 30, out to the 35. It will be well short of the first down as he got back to the regular line of scrimmage. And so now the Vikings will have to punt for the first time. At least they're going with the wind. Maybe. There are only 2 seconds left.
Brigham had a nice chance here, but then he looked at the ball, thought, I'm going to get the interception. Pace stepped right in front of him, got the ball. Not the first down yardage, but a nice play.
Pace is listed as a running back, but he's had 7 receptions for 156 yards and 4 touchdowns this season. So he's not just a runner. They put him in the slot back and out on the wing, and he's able to catch those delays across the middle. Well, Coach Crowshaw's out on the field. He wants something done. I think he wanted another player to make it 11 out on the defensive side. And now I think he's going to call a timeout. And that's what he's done. Yeah, Craig Crowshaw, he said, we asked him who his starting lineup was on defense. He said, I don't know, as long as I have 10 players. Well, maybe I only have 10 sometimes.
He said first 11 out. I said, I should have played for you. I could have been out there first. I would have started.
And right there they had 10 players. They had to call timeout. At 2 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And so will they start the clock? No, they will not start the clock. It was a timeout, obviously. So Aaron Edmonds, who does the field goal kicking, the extra points, and the punting, is on to punt at his own 22-yard line. He'll have the benefit of the wind at his back. Nearly blocked, and they're going to call a flag roughing the punter, and Ricks College will get a new set of downs. Tough break for the Dixie Rebels as they came with the punt block team, and it was Dan Brigham who ran into the punter, Aaron Edmonds.
That's one thing you got to avoid. That it's a mental mistake. You know you're getting the ball back. You have a chance to turn it around. The quarter's going to change. You'll have the wind at your back. You rough the kicker, and guess what? Defense is back on the field.
And let's see what they're going to do with this. If it's going to be the end of the quarter or not. If they'll put a couple of seconds on. All right, we're going to take a break here as we believe the first quarter has just ended with your score, Ricks and Dixie, all tied up at 7. We begin the second quarter in Rexburg, Idaho, Viking Stadium. We're all knotted up at 7 apiece. The Rebels now take over as the Vikings declined the penalty, as it would have moved the ball only 5 yards ahead, and so it has still been 4th down, but they liked where they were at, so the Rebels take over at their own 20-yard line. Hampton has Ethan Ross at the 50, and he makes the catch, and he slides down at the 47. That is a gain of 33 yards on that pass play, and as soon as the Rebels had the win at their back, they went deep.
And he had a chance to go all the way on this. If he didn't have to slow down and get the ball, he would have been gone for 6 points right there.
So Dixie right back to work. First play of the second quarter with the wind behind their back. 30. Well, they'll mark it down at the 49-yard line. So that's a 31-yard pass play for the Rebels from Hampton to Ross. Ross's longest was 43 yards before today. Hampton's going to go to the air one more time. tries to avoid the rush, and he'll just throw that one away as his receiver slipped down near the 45-yard line, so he just wanted to get rid of that.
Heads up play, getting rid of the ball. Keep this drive alive. Don't do anything stupid and throw the ball into traffic and try and maybe go to a secondary checkoff receiver. There was a little pressure coming upfield. He felt it, got rid of the ball. Smart move.
The Viking defensive squad wanted intentional grounding. They thought he threw that away to avoid the sack. He did, but he threw it in the right place.
That's right.
2nd and 10 at the 49 of Ricks College. Hampton has Banks and Sane in the backfield, receivers to both sides. And it's a pitch back to John Banks, and he jumps over to the 45-yard line. That will be a gain of 4. Actually, that was Tony Nelson on the running play there. He picked up 4. That will bring up 3rd and 6.
Take a look at Sane. Sane is good for a number of reasons. He can carry the ball, but he does a nice job on the lead block. He had 5 carries, 25 yards in the first quarter of this game. Look to the Dixie Rebels to go to Sane once again.
And a lot of those are on that quick delay draw that left the middle wide open. 3rd and 6. Hampton across the middle to Aaron Ware. He's got the first down, and he's brought down at the 35-yard line of Ricks College. And once again, the Rebels moving at will on the Viking defense.
And Ron, I'm a little surprised to see Ware so wide open because they knew that this was their top receiver. He sits in a little bit, then he pops out on the delay right here, wide open in a meadow in that spot, and then he gets to the first down marker. But Ware, I thought they would do a better job of trying to shut him down, but he's kind of having his way today.
And how can you miss this guy? 6'5", 200-pounder, sophomore from Brighton High School. Leading receiver on this team, 8 receptions, 155 yards, 19 yards per reception. And Croshaw said that I think they're going to double or triple team him, so I don't think we'll be able to get the ball to him. But they've been successful so far. Hampton going deep to Ethan Ross, and it's broken up at the 10-yard line. And there to defend the play was the cornerback, Ben Kofe, a sophomore from Long Beach, California. The ball was there, but a great defensive play as he stepped in front.
And we see Kofe come up with a couple of big plays. Another one right here. Just great timing. Looking at the ball, getting position, and then jumping in front right in time.
Actually was lucky that he wasn't picked off. Quinn Hampton only has 3 interceptions on the year compared to 4 touchdowns, and that one was close to being intercepted. That will bring up 2nd down and 10 at the 35.
Rebels getting a little pass happy.
And being very successful with it, too. Receivers to the both sides. And whistle blows and delay of game on the Rebels, and that is not what they want, as Quinn Hampton is going to the official saying, what happened? I didn't see a clock. I didn't have any warning. But it will be a 5-yard penalty, delay of game. 2nd down and 15 now for the Rebels as the ball's moved back to the 40-yard line. Penalties on both teams hurting drives. And you can hear Coach Croshaw asking,
who's supposed to give the time cue?
Exactly. 2nd and 15, and let's see, another flag is thrown. Well, actually about 5 flags are thrown. Let's see what the call is here. It will be against Dixie. Illegal procedure on the Rebels once again, and moving back again. So you just lose 10 yards. After a couple of nice plays, you lose 10 yards on mental mistakes.
And you got to avoid the mental mistakes, especially in big games like this, the rivalry games. You got to have momentum on your side, and every time you make a mental mistake, it puts the momentum on the side of the other team.
40 seconds ago, it was 2nd and 10. Now it's 2nd and 20. Hampton going to pass again. Going to go deep again to Ware. And Ware makes a diving attempt, and he makes the catch inside the 20. That was a great connection from Quinn Hampton to Aaron Ware.
Aaron Ware, you'd never know that this guy is a tight end. He runs like a receiver, he catches like a receiver, and he's not so big that he could be an intimidating blocker. But you watch the route that he runs, he comes out wide, he's looking for the makes a quick look in the flat, just to sell it, and then a great reception in traffic. Nice job. This guy could play Division I receiver.
21 or 27-yard pickup on the pass play. 1st and 10 now at the 18 of Ricks College. The handoff to Sane breaks a tackle and keeps on going down to the 6-yard line. And talk about gutty effort. He was stopped at the 15 but kept going.
Ware and Sane are both the type of guys that if you give them the ball, somehow they will make a play. Now Ware's averaging 19 per every time he touches the ball. Sane, he's got 5 yards per carry in the first quarter. This time he should have been down a couple of times, couple of 3 times, couple of 4 times, and gets to the first down marker.
Josh Thompson in on the tackle for the Ricks College Vikings, but not until he picks up another first down. 1st and goal at the 7. The Rebels threatening to score once again. Handoff to Sane up the middle, and this time he is brought down after a gain of 2.
I like that, though. You keep giving him the ball. He's got some success. He's feeling good about himself. And the good running backs, they get down there inside the 10, inside the 5, and they can feel it. They can smell it. They want the end zone. You take a look at him. He's got the ball, and he says, I know where the end zone is. I got to get there. But a nice job by the defense to wrap him up and stop him.
And that is the 7th carry by Aaron Sane. In the first 3 games, he's had only 11 carries. So he's almost.
And they like to give the ball to the tailback in this offense. But if Sane is having success, hey, by all means, give it to the fullback. Maybe move him back to the tailback position.
Well, it's been very successful. After carrying the ball only 11 times in the first 3 games, he already has 7 attempts here. 2nd and goal. Pitch to Tony Nelson. He cuts back, smells the goal line, but can he get there? No, he'll be just short at the 1-yard line, and they're going to call another flag here. This may be unsportsmanlike conduct of some sort, late hit, because the flag was thrown late as he was still reaching for the end zone.
Sane, another nice block on this one. The holding on the Rebels, costly mistake because they're right there up against the goal line, and now they'll move the ball back. But you mentioned Sane only had 11 carries going into this game. He sat out most of the last 2 games with some injuries.
He's healthy now.
Very healthy.
Now Nelson was trying to reach for the goal line, and a holding call on the Rebels will move them back once again. They've had a number of penalties, but they've still been able to manage a decent drive out of this. They started at their own 20, and now they're back to the 12-yard line, and it will be 2nd and goal from the 12. 11:44 and counting here in the second quarter. We're all tied at 7, but the Rebels threatening to score here. 2nd and goal at the 12. Hampton trying to find somebody in the end zone. Now he gets a short receiver. Aaron Ware again, and Ware has it across the 5 down to the 3-yard line, and that will bring up 3rd and goal at the 3.
I think there's a flag on the play, but there's so much debris flying around, I can't tell if that's a flyer or a flag, but I think there is a flag.
Holding Ricks College. And so that will move the ball a little bit further up if they take the penalty.
They'll take this penalty.
Because it will save it down.
They'll save it down, put them back in position where they started. They exchange penalties. They're back where they're back to about the 5-yard line, I would guess.
At the 12 or 13, half the distance to the goal line. Holding. Defense. So the Vikings.
I think they get a first down.
Well, if it's don't know if it's an automatic first down.
And if that's the case, that's a huge mistake for Ricks because they had them right where they wanted.
Considering they were in scoring position, they had moved him back a little bit. The ball will be spotted at the 6-yard line. And Croshaw and his coaching staff, they want some explanations. And he's letting the official know how he feels.
You love visiting coaches that get in the referee's ear a little bit and say, hey, keep this thing fair.
And I'm sure he's saying a lot of pleasantries about what they had for dinner last night and all sorts of things of that sort. Okay, we finally get to play football again. Second down and goal at the 6-yard line. Hampton, Nielsen, and Sane in the backfield. The handoff is to Sane up the middle, and he is brought down after a gain of maybe 3 down to the 3-yard line.
This is perfect for Dixie because this is where they do their work. They can put the ball on the ground 3 times in a row, get 2 yards per carry, and end up in the end zone.
Clock still running, just under 11 minutes to play here in the first half. We're all tied at 7. Both teams scored on their first possessions. Second and goal from the 3. Hampton with Nielsen and Sane in the backfield. Receivers to both sides. The pitch to Nielsen. It's a foot race to the corner of the end zone, and it's won by Tony Nielsen. Touchdown, Dixie. That was a foot race to the end zone, and Nielsen won at that time. 13-7. The Rebels have come in here and quieted this jam-packed crowd here at Viking Stadium.
Play action to Sane. Play action to Sane. That'll keep them busy for a second and give your halfback or your tailback a chance to get outside. Nielsen, nice job. Had a chance to get to the pylon and gets in the end zone.
Tony Nielsen, sophomore out of Alta, gets his second touchdown of the season, and the extra point by Travis Blackwell is good. He is now 13 of 14 on the season. So with 10:35 remaining here at Viking Stadium, Ricks College takes the lead once again, 14-7. For the Ricks College Vikings in their homecoming, 14-7, with 10 minutes and 35 seconds remaining here in the first half. Tony Nielsen, a 3-yard touchdown run, his second of the season. Travis Blackwell to kick it off, and Tyler Sharman will watch it sail out of the end zone, and the Vikings will take over at their own 20-yard line.
That went into the parking lot. The ball bounced all the way to the park. Right when he kicked, there was a gust of wind that blew some hats off here in the crowd. It took that ball all the way to the parking lot.
Wind still gusting here, and it's still very dusty. Dixie College is probably about Ricks College about 5 or 6 blocks long, and you can't see the end of the college, the end of the buildings. It's that dusty.
Scoring drive for the Dixie Rebels. 4 minutes, 25 seconds, 10 plays, 80 yards, 7 points.
Ryan Harris now with split backs in the backfield. 1st and 10 at the 20. The handoff to Tom Pace. He's got some room. Across the 25 up to the 27. That will be a gain of 7 for the Vikings. Brings up 2nd down and 3.
Ricks right now, they need to establish that ground game. They've got to get it going. They've got to pace the ball as much as they can. They haven't been too successful going wide, but if they can get pace with a few plays up the middle, then they can play action and they can test these safeties a little bit.
This is the first time the Vikings have had to face and go into the teeth of this wind here in the second quarter. Let's see how that affects their passing game of Ryan Harris. He has Pace in the backfield by himself. The handoff is to Pace, and he is smothered by Junior Ciavi'i, and Pace had nowhere to go. That will be a loss of 4 yards on the play, so great defensive penetration by the big guy, Junior Ciavi'i.
Pushing right through. The defense was outstanding on that play. You talk about quickness. This team has some quickness on their team. In the front line, you take a look at the roster. Yeah, they're big, but they can move upfield. And Ciavi'i's so big. Once he starts moving upfield, he's got so much momentum and inertia. You can't stop him. Don't get in his way. And that time, Pace was in his way, and he got beat up.
He can't stop himself, let alone someone else
it's
trying
good
to help
thing Pace
him.
was there. He might have been in the parking lot.
With the football. 3rd and 7. Harris back to pass. Looking out in the flat, and it's overthrown. He overthrows his intended receiver, Tyler Sharman, as Harris hits the deck, and guess who was there to knock the quarterback down?
Homecoming for Anton Fowler.
That's right. He said, "Hello, Mr. Harris. Nice to see you again."
Yeah, he said, "Will you be my date for the homecoming dance?"
And I think he says no. 4th down and 7.
Punting into the wind.
Aaron Edmonds, his first chance into this wind. He's back at his own 10-yard line. Watch the flight of this ball. It could be interesting. Ethan Ross back to receive this punt at his own 45-yard line. A low line driver. Bounces across the 40, across the 35, and down to the 30. That's a 40-yard punt into the wind.
Pretty good punts into the wind.
They're keeping it low and getting good bounces. So the Rebels will now take over, 1st and 10 at their own 30, leading the Vikings 14-7. And here at Viking Stadium, it's one of the nicer stadiums along with Dixie College Hanson Stadium. Nice grandstand here on this side, and it's packed, but it's very quiet now as the Rebels have quieted this crowd 14-7.
And on the Rick sideline, the coach is talking about what they need to do offensively once they get the ball back to put some points on this board. The last thing that they want to do is give the Dixie Rebels a chance to build some momentum, get more points on the board. And if they go in 21-7 at halftime, they're in trouble.
All right, 8:57 remaining in the first half. We have a timeout on the field. Our score, Dixie 14, the Ricks College Vikings 7. Minutes remaining here at Viking Stadium in Rexburg, Idaho. The Rebels up by a touchdown, 14-7, then with the ball at their own 30, 1st and 10. Quinn Hampton, the quarterback. Split receivers to the left. Here comes the blitz. The handoff is to, I believe, Aaron Say. No, it's not. It's Tony Nielsen. And Tony Nielsen picks up a couple of yards to the 32. That time, Ricks College showed the blitz, and they brought the backers inside. And Steve Gifford, I believe, is down for the Ricks College Vikings.
They were just working on Gifford's ankle. They just, I think they took off the tape job that he had. They put on another tape job. And right when he came in, he was in there first, but you see him go down, the ankle rolls, and that's why he's still out on the field, and they'll have to help him off.
The right ankle rolled, and Aaron Sane fell on his ankle, so Steve Gifford, sophomore out of Preston, Idaho, is being helped off the field, and that does not look healthy. Tony Nielsen picked up 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 at the 32-yard line of Dixie College. Sane and Nielsen in the backfield. Receivers to both sides for Quinn Hampton. Fakes the handoff to Nielsen. Hampton wants to go deep. He's got Ethan Ross. Ball knocked away. Nice play by Ben Coffey. Ross had it in his hands, but well, that was a heads-up play by the quarterback.
We're calling Coffey's number a lot of times today, and it's because he's in the right place at the right time, and plus he's doing a lot of the coverage on Ross, so he's got a lot of opportunities to be there for the play. Great play action on this particular play, but once again, Ross was kind of in traffic. They tried to get out there as we take a look at the injured player, Steve Gifford, as they worked on him earlier, and they'll work on him again, but chances are we may not see him again.
Hampton gonna pass again, looking for Ross again, and he's got him, but he drops the ball, and they're gonna say he was a catch and a fumble. No, they're gonna say it was incomplete, and that's a big break for Dixie because it looked like he may have caught that ball. Josh Thompson was there to defend the play.
And the referee that was in the back, as you take a look at this, it's in, then it's out. Looks like he had 2 feet down. Actually, it did. It popped right out. The referee in the back coming up, and if you're Ricks, you jump on that ball right away.
Good call by the official. Did not have both feet down, did not have possession. That brings up 4th down and 8 at the 32. Chris Anderson is back at his 16-yard line to punt this thing away, and he may get his longest punt of the year here. Snap is a little bit high, but no rush. Oh, and it's a tough kick. Just goes straight up in the air. It's a wobbler, and it goes out of bounds, and that is not what you wanted to do with the wind behind your back.
You know, the toughest part about that whole exchange right there is going to be the center long snapping to you. The center's got a long way to go. You got to think about that. He's going against the wind, even though the punter's going with the wind. You take a look at Gifford. They're taking off the shoe now on that ankle that was rolled, and he's a guy that they need in there. One of the great linebackers that they have. We'll take another look at the injuries. He's coming up, and you see the block come down on him, then he rolls down, and right there is where it went under. And they had just barely, 3 plays earlier, retaped that ankle because he was having problems with it. And then that happens, and that second injury did not look good.
That's a 36-yard punt by Chris Anderson. Not the kind of punt you wanted with the wind behind your back. And as the Vikings came upon the line, we had a whistle and had to wait for the chain gang to get set. But we're set now, 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line of Ricks College, trailing 14-7. Ryan Harris to Tom Pace. Pace trying to get around the right side. He does. He gets up to the 40-yard line, and that's a gain of 6 yards. That will bring up 2nd down and 4.
That was one of those plays that doesn't look like it's gaining a lot of ground. He's going sideways so much. But Pace, the great thing about him is that he can go up the middle and he can go around the outside. Usually you'll see Sharman carry around the outside, but Pace can be effective. He goes out here. He's trying to pick his moves. He's looking. He's saying, is there a hole for me here? Can I turn it up? Can I turn it up? No, he turns it up a little bit. He's got one more blocker in number 5 and says, I've just got to go for what I can get, and he gets 5 yards.
Sean Kojima played quarterback and defensive back at Hillcrest High School, coming up to make the stop there on Tom Pace. 2nd and 4. That's a gain of 3 yards on the play.
Actually, could have been a gain of a lot more. He ran right into one of his linemen. The guy was so big, it was like running into a wall.
Ryan Kemp, the ball carrier, his first run of the ball game, freshman out of Pocatello. Yeah, he ran right into one of his big offensive linemen and stunned him a bit.
Quinn Christensen, 6'6", 280 pounds. It's hard to get around a guy like that.
3rd and 1 at the 43-yard line. Harris, and flags fly, whistles blow. Let's see what the call is on this. It's 3rd and 1. Delay of game, Ricks College. So they will be moved back 5 yards. And instead of 3rd and 1, it will be 3rd and 6.
And now maybe you'll hear Hahn complaining about who's supposed to give us the time cues. Delay of game on 3rd and 1, that should never happen. You know you've got, actually it was 3rd and maybe a half a yard to get the first down. And this is a huge drive right now, possession for the Ricks College Vikings. They need to get on the board.
Usually you have a play clock at the end zones, but no clocks here at Stadium at Viking Stadium. And so that makes it difficult for the quarterback to try to time these plays. 3rd and 6. Harris is going to pass. The dumper across the middle to Ryan Kemp, and he can't hang on. He would have had enough for the first down, and he was wide open, just didn't make the catch.
And that's one of those plays where you send him out. He's going out into the flat, and he turns around, comes back through the middle, and he's probably got a linebacker covering him, and that's the mismatch that they're looking for. So he was wide open over the middle, but just couldn't hang on to the ball.
Aaron Edmonds into punt for the Vikings, standing in his own 25-yard line. He's averaging 41 yards a kick, and back to receive is Ethan Ross for the Dixie Rebels at his own 25. And this was a squibbler off his left side of his foot, and this punt is not going to be that far. And there's another flag on the play. As the punt went out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And the official, the line judge, near the Dixie sidelines, threw a flag as he was running down.
We've got
the sideline.
Vikings indicating that the penalty will go against Dixie. We'll have to wait to see what the official call is.
6:19 remaining in the first half. The Rebels lead the Vikings 14-7. Holding Dixie. Either way, Dixie will still retain possession, just deeper in their own territory. We're going to be back. The Rebels lead the Vikings by a touchdown. 15 seconds remaining in the first half from Rexburg, Idaho. The Rebels lead the Ricks College Vikings by a score of 14-7 in the Vikings homecoming. And the Rebels now have the ball at their own 28-yard line with a touchdown lead. And Alema, they've been able to mix this thing up and wide variety of running plays and passing plays. And now they have the win against their back again for the second time in the game. Let's see what they do. Quinn Hampton has the I formation in the backfield. He's going to pass to his tight end, Aaron Ware, and Aaron Ware has the ball up at the 33-yard line, and the tackle's made there by Garrett White, a sophomore from Yakima. So once again, he goes to his leading receiver, Aaron Ware.
Aaron Ware is so effective coming out of that tight end position. You'd think that they were going to double down on him, but he's wide open. He slips into that zone, and the safety has to come up, but by the time they make the adjustment, it's way too late, and he's been doing it all day long.
I'm sure that's one thing that Ron Hahn would talk about as defenders in the locker room at halftime. A gain of 5 for Ware, 2nd and 5 for the Rebels. Hampton back to pass again. He's going to go deep, and he's got his man, but double coverage there. It sails out of bounds. The intended receiver was Brian Mullen, and Brian Mullen, by the way, his older brother played at Ricks College, was a receiver here with the Vikings back in the early 80s. His dad is the coach at Copper Hills High School. So football, he knows what he's doing there at that receiver spot.
On this play, you've got both outside receivers running a hitch and go. You see on the near side, the hitch and go. Same thing going on the other side, but great coverage. It would have been a great grab, but they weren't able to come down with it.
3rd and 5 at the 33. Hampton hands off to Aaron Sane and tries to slip out of the tackle at the 35-yard line, but does not do it. Jerry Togiai makes the tackle across the 35 and at the 36, and that will bring up another 4th down punting situation for the Rebels as Chris Anderson will come in to do the duties once again.
We have seen a little bit of a reverse as far as the offensive scheme for the Rebels, because normally they would probably run the ball on 1st and 2nd down. They threw the ball 1st down, threw the ball 2nd down, and then they ran the ball on 3rd.
Chris Anderson back at his 20 to punt this thing away to Ryan Kemp, who's standing back at his own 15-yard line. And it's a fake punt. Anderson is going to run it. He's up at the 40. He's got the 1st down at the 42-yard line. And let's say that was Chris Anderson, the fake punt, and it surprised everybody. And he picked up 14 yards, and that was enough for a 1st down.
This surprised everybody, including the Dixie Rebels, because this was not designed as a fake punt. He had no blockers out. Everybody was going downfield to cover the punt. What happened was the snap, because the wind going against the snap, ended up on the ground. He decided to take the ball and run. Good choice. 1st down, Rebels.
It was a gain of 10, 1st and 10 Dixie on the fake punt. 4:16 remaining here in the second half, or in the first half. Quinn Hampton goes to work once again. Here comes the pressure. Eludes one guy, but can elude 3 others. Quinn Hampton avoiding the sack at the 35, but then stepping up, and he was nailed once again by the anchor of this Viking defensive line, Jerry Togiai.
Jerry Togiai, one of the guys that was there was Anthony Ward, the first guy on the scene. He came up, put the pressure, and made Hampton step up. And once he did that, then he got help from all over the place.
He's a sophomore from Hawaii, 6'4", 295. And how do you say his name again?
Togiai.
Jerry made the tackle. That's his first name.
And the penalty on the play, it looks like the Rebels are going the wrong direction. We have a second to talk about time of possession, and this is what the offense wanted to do, is they wanted to hold the ball. As you look, it's a clip against the Rebels. 16 minutes and 10 seconds time of possession for Dixie. And here you see Ward
right
come up,
there.
puts the pressure on him. That allows Togiai to step up and make the sack.
Anthony Ward was putting the pressure on Hampton, and he was clipped in the back, and that's why they made the call. So now it brings up 1st and 25 all the way back at the 26-yard line. Hampton's going to hand off to Aaron Saint, breaks up across the 30 to the 35 and out near the 40-yard line. Brought down by Josh Thompson from his cornerback position. And that's a gain of 18 yards. I'll make that a gain of 12 yards.
Saint continues to impress. Goes up the middle, has a small seam to get through, gets into the secondary, and once you get into the secondary, a guy this big, it's going to take more than one defensive back to bring him down.
And Aaron Sane has made a lot of defenders slide off his backside as they see him make a couple of more yards.
Some guys are trying to avoid him now.
2nd and 13. Hampton back to pass again. He's got his man wide open, Aaron Ware, again across the middle, nobody around him, and he's out to the 50-yard line. And that is another gain of 11 yards.
The two things they'll be talking about in the Ricks locker room at halftime, as far as the defense is concerned, how are you going to stop Sane, and how do you stop Ware? Look at Ware this time on the little delay. Nobody's even on him. Wide open again.
Donnie Allred there to make the tackle, and that's the first time we've called Allred's name today. Done a good job of staying away from him. The handoff to Tony Nielsen. He has nowhere to go. Maybe a yard on the play. But that was 3rd and 5, and that will bring on the punting unit once again, Chris Anderson, who moments ago faked everybody out and ran for a first down in this punting situation.
That's a big play by Ricks to shut them down and maybe give their offense a chance to put some points on the board and make this even going into halftime.
Clock running, 1:48 and counting. 4th and 3. Anderson back at his own 35 to punt this thing away, and no one deep for the Vikings.
They learned their lesson on that last fake.
Anderson pooch kicking it, trying to get it to the corner. It bounces at the 3 and then goes into the end zone for a touchback. So the Vikings will now take over on their own 20-yard line, and they have 1:23 to try and maybe do something about this. And it will be difficult with the wind in their face, about 40 to 50 miles an hour, to see if Ron Hahn wants to make something of this or play it safe.
And they've gone to the ground a lot during this time that they have been going against the wind. Pace has been semi-successful running the ball, but they've got to sustain a drive. Dixie has been able to keep the ball, sustain a drive, go down 80 yards, 65 yards, and punch it in. That's what Ricks needs to do right now.
Well, let's see what they do. 1st and 10. The handoff is up the middle and not much there as the host of linemen for the Rebels make the stop.
They tried to run a draw there, but the problem is if your passing game isn't all that successful, and it hasn't been right now, you can't sell the pass. Right now they're against the wind. They haven't done anything as far as getting the ball in the air. So as soon as the drop back was there, the defense just collapsed. So we're not buying it.
The Rebels didn't buy it. Gain of 1 on the play, 2nd and 9. Under 45 seconds to play. Harris hands off to Sharman around the right side, across the 20, up to the 24-yard line. And that will be a gain of 3. Patrick Sandoval and Grant Smith in on the tackle for the Dixie Rebels. But he did get out of bounds, stop the clock with 34 seconds left.
Right now that's what they need to do if they're going to try and score. I'm not so sure if they're actually trying to score or not. But if they are going to do that, they need to have the presence of mind to, when you do carry the ball, get out of bounds, stop the clock, give your offense a chance to move the ball.
Ron Hahn probably wish he would have just stayed inbounds on that one. Get this half over with and go in and make some adjustments at halftime. 3rd and 6 from the 24. Hand off to Pace, this time around the right side, cuts back across the 30, has the first down, out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. A gain of 11 yards on the play, that's good enough for a first down, and 26 seconds left.
And Pace does a nice job, cuts it back against the grain. The pursuit was coming, and he beat him to it. Nice spin move to get out of the tackle, gets the first down.
And now the Vikings want to take time out to think this over. With 26 seconds left in the first half, do they want to make a charge for it, maybe get into field goal position? I would assume you would have to get down around the 10 or 15-yard line with this wind to get a good crack at the field goal.
We saw special teams out here before the game kicking some balls, and the balls that were kicked towards this end zone would go about 20 yards in the air and then drop straight to the ground.
Talk about the Dixie Rebels defense. They have pretty much held the offense in check. Only 2 first downs for the Vikings in this first half, while the Rebels have 12. That is some pretty stifling defense.
They're doing an outstanding job, and they're doing it by committee. Everybody's contributing. We're calling everybody's name on defense, and they're really shutting it down. But what's happened for Ricks is that they have been limited as to what they can do. They can't throw the ball right now, and so that takes half their offense away, and it really shuts down their run because they become predictable. And if you know they're going to run, it's easier to shut it down.
Here we go, 26 seconds remaining in the first half. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. The draw to Ryan Kemp. He gets up across the 40 to the 44-yard line. That's a gain of 8 yards on the play. Moananu, the guy who made the stop, and Ricks will be satisfied to let this clock run out here in the first half. 5 seconds, 4, 3. So that will be our score at the end of the first half. Homecoming here for the Ricks College Vikings. The Rebels have come in and quieted this crowd. Dixie leading Ricks College by a touchdown. 14-7 is your score at halftime. We're going to take a break, and this timeout we'll come back and take a look at the statistics and see how the Vikings trail this game. 14-7. We're at halftime here in Rexburg, Idaho. The Dixie Rebels leading the Ricks College Vikings in the Vikings homecoming by the score of 14-7. Rod Zundel along with Alema Harrington here up above the field. And Alema, right off the bat, the Rebels came in, took the opening kickoff, and mixed it up with between the run and pass. Excellent drive, 80 yards for the touchdown, and that seemed to set the tone for the entire first half.
And what they did was keep the ball away from the Ricks offense. And talking to their coaching staff prior to the game, that's exactly what they wanted to do. They had a similar situation a few years back. And if they can keep Ricks off the field, then they can go down, pound it out, keep the time of possession in their favor, score, and they'll come away with a win.
And it's surprising how effective they've been passing the ball. Quinn Hampton has been on target into this win even.
And where? He's
Aaron
everywhere.
Ware.
He's everywhere. I'll tell you what, that's a great target. He looks more like a wide receiver, but coming out of that tight end position, he hides in the line, and then all of a sudden he's out in the middle of the field, and he picks up 8, 9, sometimes 15, 20 yards at a time. And Aaron Sain, on the other hand, is doing it on the ground.
The fullback has 58 yards rushing. He's only carried the ball 11 times in 3 games. He's been injured part of that time. He had 10 attempts. 10 rushes today for 58 yards.
And he's salivating right now. He loves it. He's carrying the ball. He's carrying the ball well. And he's thinking, hey, they might move me to halfback.
And then the defense of Dixie, they've just stifled the Ricks College offense, allowing only 2 first downs in the first half.
And what they've been able to do is shut down that offense that they have. They cannot throw the ball right now. You haven't seen Ben Rex catch any balls. And they're limiting who they can throw the ball to. Pace is basically their main receiver out of the backfield.
All right, 14-7, your score at halftime. The Dixie Rebels leading the Ricks College Vikings. When we come back, we'll talk to Ricks College Vikings Athletic Director Garth Hall, talk about the status of college football and junior college football, and we'll talk about that when we come back. In Rexburg, Idaho, Ricks College and the Dixie Rebels. Homecoming for the Vikings. The Rebels lead, though, 14-7. With me now is Athletic Director for Ricks College, Garth Hall, and you know all about football in this area. What do you think? Homecoming here for the Vikings, and the Rebels have come in and actually played a pretty darn good first half.
I think Dixie's probably done everything right. You know, the wind has been a big factor. When you got wind, you've got to take advantage of it. And when we deferred and they had to drive that first series, I think they took charge of this ball game, and they seem to do everything right. They've called a great game plan, and I think the difference is their offensive line right now.
Now, you've coached at BYU, been head coach at Idaho State. You know what football is all about here in the area of Utah and Idaho. But there's some controversy with junior college football, especially with Ricks College and maybe even Dixie College. Will there even be a football program here or at Dixie in the next couple of years? What's the situation there?
Well, I think it's going to be for the next couple of years. We have a 3-year agreement at this point with the WSFL. Last year we went through a crisis. And it's really kind of complicated because the Arizona schools reside in a different region than we do, and we're up here, and there's been some differences. We're trying to get some rules to bring some equity. We have dominated. All the northern schools, Snow, Dixie, Ricks, have dominated over the years, and so it's really a challenging thing, and so we've got some challenges ahead of us.
And so what is happening, the Arizona schools just want to play amongst themselves and not have to travel to maybe Dixie and Snow and Ricks any longer, so that would force you guys out of the league, which may force you to drop the program. Is that correct?
We looked last year when we got to this point, Rod. There are no other options. We're either in the WSFL, or I doubt there will be football, and that probably goes for Dixie and Snow as well as us.
So what is the next step? What is going to happen? I know there's been some recruiting restrictions on Ricks College, especially. The number of players that you can take from Utah have been cut down to 25, and you used to have 44 or something like that?
Well, what they've done is put rules that are applicable to everybody. We've tried to get a level playing field, so the rules they've put in apply to everybody. Dixie, Ricks, they just haven't targeted us, but it's had impact. And I think what the future is for us is we've got to work to stabilize the league. We now have a constitution. We now got bylaws. We really have some structure, but with that, it's got to be an evolving process. We got to get rid of the things that don't work and add things that keep us together, and that's going to be a challenge because we have a different mentality with community schools in the Phoenix area, as opposed to if you can understand the difference of a junior college like we've got here.
In a one-word answer, will there be junior college football in the next 5, 6, 7 years?
I think there's no question we've got a commitment for 3 years, but I think it's going to be some real challenges beyond that point, and I'm not prepared to say, but right now everybody's working together, and so I'm very optimistic.
That was about a 21-word answer. All right, Garth Hall, athletic director, good friend here at Ricks College. Thanks for stopping by. Second half is coming up in a few minutes, but when we come back, we're going to talk to Vice President at Dixie College and talk about what's happening with the Rebel program. That's coming up next at halftime.
Lead the Vikings of Ricks College by the score of 14-7. We'll have more of the kickoff of the second half, that is, coming up shortly. Joined now by Stan Plew, Vice President at Dixie College. And we want to talk a little bit about this broadcast because it's made possible by a lot of the people that are watching out here right now.
Well, we want to appreciate all those sponsors, and particularly KSL, who provided the uplink for us today. And, when it gets right down to it, without sponsors, you can't do anything in this kind of a production. But this is a great program at Dixie College. These are all student camera people working today and the technical crew, so we're real proud of them today. And the first time we appreciate KSL and KCSG for making it possible.
We should tell them that we appreciate them and congratulate them on the work that they've done today as well. We talked to the coaching staffs of both schools prior to this game, and they're both thrilled to have this happen. We were saying that I'm not sure if there's ever been a live broadcast of a junior college game. How did this come about?
Well, we had a debate the other day whether this was the first Dixie, but it went so far back nobody could remember. So we were taking this as the first live broadcast. It came about 4 or 5 years ago. Individual Stan Everett, who is the director of our program, came from Cincinnati, where he had operated a program like this in Cincinnati, where the local high schools and college worked together, and we duplicated that. The funding of this is from our subscriber base of our cable viewers. They pay $1 per month to make it possible. We televise cultural events, athletic events, college classes, so we have a full slate of programs, and this is kind of a highlight to come up to Rexburg, Idaho, and televise live.
And from what we've heard, they didn't have any trouble really selling this and getting this done.
Our new athletic director, Dexter Irvin, said it was the easiest sell he's had while he's been at Dixie.
So it's been success so far, and we appreciate the people out there watching and the support. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Lemma.
Thank you very much. Once again, the Dixie Rebels are leading. It is homecoming for the Vikings, but they are trailing. So right now, the Dixie Rebels lead Ricks 14-7. We'll be back in a minute.
Back here in Rexburg, Idaho, Rod Zundel along with Lemma Harrington. We're at halftime where the Dixie Rebels lead the Ricks College Vikings 14-7. And Lemma, in that first half, the Rebels did a lot of good things. They ran the ball, they mixed them up, and the play calling was just superb.
They run the ball well, and Aaron Sane has done a great thing for them, and that is what he's done is made people look to the run, and then they open things up. And defensively, they're coming on strong.
Yeah,
but they're running the ball well. And then Pace on the other side running the ball well for Ricks College. But the problem is this is a team that's supposed to be able to pass the ball. They haven't been able to do that, and when all they can do right now is run, well, then they're having some problems.
Couple of statistics. Aaron Sane for the Rebels, 10 carries, 58 yards. He had a long carry of 14 yards. Tony Nelson, 8 carries, only 17 yards. And then on the other side, the rushing for the Vikings, Pace, 6 carries for 25 yards. Seemed like he carried the ball a lot more than that. And then Ryan Kemp came on. The thing you have to like about the Vikings or the Rebels and their defense, they kept their scat back, the guy who can really turn it on, Sharman. They've kept him to 3 attempts, minus 2 yards rushing. So they've done a good job.
What that means is that they're getting up the field. They took the emotion of this game. They traveled all this way, and they didn't come to lose. They came to play some tough defense, especially, and they've done that. You know, the offense for both of these teams get a lot of attention, but probably Rick's offense gets more attention than Dixie. And what the Rebels are saying is, hey, you guys aren't so good. You might be ranked number 1. We're at number 4. We're coming after you. We're coming after you right now.
And they learned, and they did that right off the bat as they took the opening kickoff into the wind and drove 80 yards. Quinn Hampton, the quarterback for Dixie, 8 for 17, 118 yards, no interceptions. That's key. And Ryan Harris for the Ricks College Vikings, only 7 pass attempts, and for a Ricks College team, that's unheard of. 3 of 7, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Quite a contrast.
We're about ready to get this second half underway. The Rebels lead the Vikings 14-7, back with the second half kickoff right after this on KCSG. Dixie leading the Ricks College Vikings in their homecoming game 14-7. We're at halftime, just about ready to get things underway here with the second half kickoff. Let's take a look at some of the statistics from the first half. Ricks College coming in number 1 in the country. Dixie coming in ranked 4th in the country, and it was pretty much a domination by the Dixie Rebels. Rushing yards, not much there, but passing, 88 yards passing.
Really, every category as you go down the list here, you have domination by Dixie, and actually first downs. It should be 2 for Ricks. They had 1 in the first quarter and 1 in the second quarter. That means the defense is shutting you down. And then on the other side, the Dixie Rebels, 12 first downs. Time of possession was huge. Time of possession for the Rebels, they had the ball almost throughout the whole first half, and that's what they wanted to do because they know that Ricks can score in big ways when they have an opportunity. But if you got them 3 and out and you're keeping them away from first downs and moving the ball down the field, then you got them stuffed.
Other than that first series for the Ricks College Vikings, they had that one big play, the pass from Harris to Ben Ricks, or Tom Pace, that is, and that got them down into scoring position. But other than that, they really have not had that big play striking capability like we thought they would. And so that's a tribute to the Dixie College defense. Like you said, they have done their job in stifling this high-powered and a lot of weapons on this offense for Ricks College.
The question right now for Ricks is, what did they do in the locker room? Were they able to figure out how to stop Ware? Were they able to figure out how to stop Sane? If they come out and don't have any answers to those 2 questions, it's going to be a long second half for Ricks.
I've been in that locker room with Coach Hahn, and you know that he's going to make the adjustments, and he's going to put a little fire in the belly here of his players to get them going here. I sure he said, listen, guys, we're ranked number 1. We have our homecoming. You know what? Let's play like champions. And then on the other side, Croshaw saying, let's go, guys. Let's do this. Let's just do it better, and we'll be okay. Because everything that the Rebels have done seems to work. The kickoff, it goes out of bounds, and so the Vikings will take over to begin this second half at their own 35-yard line, trailing the Rebels 14-7.
A re-kick with the 5-yard penalty.
Ryan Harris has completed 62% of his passes on the season, but he's only attempted 7 passes in that first half. And that is very unlike a Ricks College offense.
The question is, where are the other receivers? Where's Ben Rex? Where's Shufelt? They need to get the ball out.
1st and 10 at the 35. There goes Harris. And he gets it to Chappelle, as you were talking, across the 40, out to the 41-yard line. And that's a gain of 6 on the play. And you said you needed to catch get some other receivers involved, and right there he got started. Kyle Olson on the stop for the Rebels.
Nice job by Shufelt. Just that quick hitch. You catch the ball, make some yards. Now you see Ben Rex bringing in the play. They've got to distribute the ball. They've got to give themselves more weapons. There's the quick hit to Shufelt. Not a great pass, but a nice grab. Gets a couple of yards after.
Shufelt, a sophomore from Brighton High School, has 4 catches and a touchdown this year. Make that 5 catches now. Harris back to pass. Here comes the rush. He gets away from one guy, but cannot get away from the big 6'5", 330-pounder from Samoa, Junior Siavi'i. Not going to, I mean, you have to go a long way to get around that big guy.
He's big, and you know what? He's talented. The guy can play some football. He's got a lot of talent. The chances, you see the hair hanging out the back. That's intimidation. It's intimidation. The guy that big. Take a look at Siavi'i.
Anton Fowler, though.
Fowler coming with the power rush, and then Siavi'i finishing the job.
Croshaw coach Corey Dillon, who now plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, he says that Siavi'i may have a chance to go pro as well. He's that talented. Harris out in the flat, almost picked off. Almost picked off by Grant Smith. Stepped right in front of the intended receiver, and he had 6 written all over that one if he could have just held on.
Nearly intercepted by
The problem with Ricks right now is they just become too predictable. That play right there, they did a little play action to start it off to try and hold the defensive backs, the backers, but there was no doing.
Actually, it was Patrick Sandoval.
Sandoval with a chance, perfect read, steps in front, has a chance to get it, but you know what? That's why he's playing defensive back.
And not receiver. All right, the punt by Aaron Edmonds sails into the end zone, and that is a 63-yard punt by Aaron Edmonds. And the Rebels will take over for the first time this half.
He's going to send the stats from this game. He's going to send them all over the place.
Yeah, he's got the wind on his back there.
Average 65 yards a punt.
The Rebels take over at their own 20, leading the Vikings 14-7, 1st and 10.
They will reestablish the ground game right away here.
Yeah, we thought that in the first quarter, too, and it came out passing, too,
right.
into the wind. The wind has died down a little bit. It's not quite as brisk as it was in the first quarter. Hampton hands off to Tony Nielsen. Nielsen breaks across the 25, up near the 28-yard line for a gain of 8. And as you mentioned, establish the running game. Eric William, the defensive end, 6'6", 265-pounder from California, makes the stop.
Once again, a nice job blocking. Watch Sane as he comes up here, the fullback. He breaks the tailback right into the secondary, gets him through the linebackers, and once you get a tailback into the secondary, then you got a chance.
A gain of 8, 2nd and 2. Double receivers to the right side for Quinn Hampton. Hampton pitch back to Nielsen. Nielsen has some room, breaks across the 35, out to the 37, and that's a gain of 8 on the play for Tony Nielsen. Andrew Shirley, right here in Rexburg, a sophomore, made the stop on Tony Nielsen, but not before he picked up another first down.
I like the call. Has some success. Give the ball right back to him. Another good block by Sane and Nielsen. Nice north-south running. You know, just get it upfield.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Hampton hands to Sane, and Sane goes nowhere. And right there is the guy we talked about before the game. First time he's been able to break through, Donnie Allred, the enforcer from Bear River High School.
The Bear River Bears, and that got the crowd back into it for a minute. They've been silent since probably the first quarter of this game. There you see Allred coming up, putting the hat on Sane, said, hey, you might have done this at Skyline. Not here.
But I'm a Bear River Bear. Okay, so I went to Bear River. It's my alma mater. I had to say
Gee,
it.
really? Did you really? Never would have thought.
A loss of 2 on the play, 2nd and 12. The handoff to Sane, and he's got some room across the 40, out near the 42. Tackled by Allred again. Actually, that was Tony Nielsen on the carry. Nielsen picked up 6 yards on the play. That will bring up 3rd down and 4.
Nice run by Nielsen. Once again, gets through the first line of defense into the linebackers. And Allred did a nice job wrapping them up and putting them down there.
Actually, it'll be 3rd down and 6 at the 43. Hampton hands off to Sane again. This time, nowhere to go. As the interior line on the defensive side for Ricks College just collapsed on Aaron Sane, and that was Jerry Tojii who made the first hit and made the stop at the 43-yard line.
Togiai, nice job on the
Togiai?
tackle right there. Togiai.
Okay. Togiai.
I was surprised. I was really surprised Dixie didn't decide to throw. They were successful. They've gone away from it.
Chris Anderson on to punt this thing away. Ryan Kemp back at his 18-yard line to field this punt. It's a wobbler, short, and it takes a Ricks College bounce. Bounced to 32 and then went all the way up to the 36-yard line. And a few tempers flare there as both teams try to go back to their respective sidelines. With 9:53 remaining in the 3rd quarter, our score stands Dixie 14, Ricks 7. 9:53 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Dixie leading Ricks 14-7. Vikings with the ball. Ryan Harris going deep. Kyle Harris is there, and it's picked off by Patrick Sandoval of Dixie at the 20-yard line. So Ryan Harris, who has not been successful so far in this game, tried to go to the well, and he got sunk by Patrick Sandoval, a sophomore from Taylorsville High School. That's his 3rd interception on the season.
And plenty of time to throw. He's got a receiver down there, but he was in traffic, but he still lets it go. Nice coverage downfield by the Dixie Rebels. Look, 3 guys in the area of the football, and one of them is going to come up with it.
And that was Patrick Sandoval, his 3rd interception on the year. So the Vikings now get the first turnover of the game, and they will take over at their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10 with 9:43 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Hampton. Long count, hands off to Tony Nielsen. Nowhere to go, he'll lose a couple. As Tuioti Mariner makes the stop for the Ricks College Vikings.
That's what Ricks needs right now. They need their defense to step it up and shut the door on the Rebels right away. Maybe that's the best way for them to get some field position, is to have the defense shut down the Rebels, get the ball back, and maybe they'll be inside the 50 because the Rebels would have to punt against the wind. But it's going to be tough to shut down Dixie right now. The Rebels, on the other hand, have been running the ball. We haven't seen them throw yet.
Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11. Hampton back to pass. Here comes the pressure. Lobs it up for his tight end, Aaron Ware. And there will be a call of pass interference on the Vikings as Aaron Ware was trying to reach for the ball, but I guess he was held by one of the Ricks College defenders.
I'll have to take a look at the replay on that. Maybe a little bit questionable. There's some boos coming from the crowd saying maybe that wasn't a catchable pass.
And that's what one of the coaching staff is trying to tell the officials, that it was way too far above his head. He had no chance to catch that ball. But I think the officials will win this one. They always do.
They always do. Another big break for the offense of Dixie. They've had a number, a couple in the first half, another one right now. This will advance the chains, and they didn't have to do anything to do it.
And it seemed like the Ricks College defense was starting to get a grasp of the Dixie offense and starting to hold them back a little bit, and this has got to be a breaker for the Vikings. So it'll be 1st down and 10 at the 35-yard line. Rebels leading by a touchdown. Hampton back to pass. He's going deep to Ethan Ross. Ethan Ross has the ball, and then it's knocked out of his hands by Ben Coffey. And Coffey, for the 3rd time this game, has made a saving knockaway when the receiver had it in his hands.
Coffey has been huge, and he's been man-to-man with Ross all day long. Great matchup if you're looking for one. fun to watch. They're doing a good job. Coffey coming up with another big deflection. You take a look at the sidelines of Ricks right now. They're trying to figure out what they can do to get the ball back in the hands of their offense.
You just saw a shot of Coach Ron Hahn. He's been here 18 years, 81% winning percentage for Coach Hahn. By the way, Croshaw had been at Dixie 18 years, 77% winning percentage. The pass to Aaron Ware again. It goes off his hands. He had a shot, but he was belted just as the ball flew into his hands, and he is limping just a bit, but he's going back to the huddle with the incomplete pass. That will bring up 3rd and 10 now, as the Rebels offense really hasn't got much going here. They were helped with that penalty, and that was basically all the yardage they gained this quarter.
Both of the offenses struggling here in the second half. Aaron Ware, he went up high to try and get that ball and took a shot to the ribs. We'll have to see if he's okay.
3rd and 10 at the 35. Pitches to Tony Nielsen, and we have flags once again.
This may be delay of game again.
It will be. It'll be a penalty against the Dixie Rebels. Move them back 5 yards. That will bring up 3rd and 15, as they're going the wrong way.
Both offensive having a hard time. Ricks, as soon as they came out, they gave the ball away. Dixie having a hard time mixing it up the way they did in the first half. They had a lot of passing plays mixed in the run, able to be effective. This time around, they're struggling on both sides.
Dixie has 8 penalties for 70 yards. Rick 7 for 61. That's not exactly what the coaches had in mind today. Hampton back to pass, plenty of time. He can run it if he wants, but he tries to pass it to Aaron Ware, and he's got a defender hanging all over his back, Garrett White. The ball pops out, and it is called incomplete. Now that looked more like pass interference than the previous flag did. But nonetheless, it's will be called an incomplete pass, and that will bring on 4th down in the punting situation for the Dixie Rebels. Chris Anderson will be coming on to do the duties.
Remember now, Anderson on a bad snap decided to call his own number and got a 1st down for the Rebels in the first half.
I don't think he'll be
into
doing
the win
it
this time.
Anderson back at his own 15. Ryan Kemp at his own 36. Nearly blocked, and they will have a roughing the kicker call, as Chris Anderson gets up limping, and a defender, Spencer Toon, came running in there for the block, and he clipped Anderson on the leg, and they will be called with a roughing the kicker call.
Here's a look. He's coming in late from the left side as Anderson gets ready to get it off. It looks like he hesitated for a second, and then right there, he falls in, and Anderson looks like he's doing a bit of an acting job, but as he came to the sideline, he actually went down and one more time. He may be hurt just a little bit.
That is a roughing the kicker call, and that will be an automatic 1st down.
And the Rick sideline does not like this call at all. They're saying that there was an acting job. But we had the benefit of the replay as they were probably watching the punt in the air, and probably a good call.
Well, that will move the ball all the way up to the 45-yard line. 1st down and 10. 2 big penalties here on this offensive set for the Dixie Rebels, and that has moved the ball up to the 45-yard line, and without those penalties, they would have minus yardage on this possession. 1st and 10, 45-yard line. Hampton, I-formation backfield. Ricks College jumped offside. The handoff up the middle and nowhere to go, as Russell Kay is in there for the stop for the Vikings. Aaron Sane, the ball carrier.
Ricks has said from the start they were going to try and come after Dixie as far as the defense was concerned as much as they possibly could. But every time they try and jump in there, get the blitz going, Dixie has the poise to stay, Hampton especially, under center, wait. And when he finally pulls the trigger on the snap, the Ricks players are out of position. Take a look here. Allred jumping in. By the time he gets back out, he's got nothing to do. They were across the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped.
1st and 5 now at the midfield. Hampton He's going deep for Ethan Ross. Ethan Ross has it at the 30. Make a completion. Quinn Hampton, Ethan Ross, 20-yard pickup. Move the chains. First down, Dixie.
And that's what makes Ross such a great receiver. He's heads up all the time. Always has a feeling for where the ball is. The ball was underthrown. He made the right decision. Take a look. Drop back. Ross is running a fly pattern here. Knows the ball's going to come up short. Stops, comes back, gets the ball. Nice job.
Ethan Ross from Timpview High School, 5'11", 165-pound sophomore. What a passing exhibition by this supposed running Rebel team, huh? First and 10 at the 30. Hampton going to the air again. He's going deep. He's got a man. Aaron Ware has it at the 5. Touchdown, Dixie. Aaron Ware wide open at the 5-yard line. Perfect pass into the wind by Quinn Hampton, and the Rebels now have complete control of this football game.
Aaron Ware, outstanding play. You can tell he's walking a little bit gingerly, but he'll come out here. You see him. He leaves the line of scrimmage. He's going to the flat, and they fake the pass, and then watch. He's got both defenders beat. He's all by himself. Just him in the end zone. Touchdown, Dixie.
Aaron Ware's first touchdown of the season. Travis Blackwell on for the extra point. It is good. And all of a sudden, 7:47 remaining here in the third quarter, and the Dixie Rebels have a 21-7 lead over the #1 ranked team in the nation on their homecoming, the Ricks College Vikings. Back with more after this. Point lead over Ricks College on their homecoming here in Rexburg, Idaho, 21-7 with 7:47 remaining in the third quarter. Travis Blackwell with a kickoff. Tyler Sherman has it, and it flies out of the end zone. And so the Ricks College Vikings will now take over on their own 20-yard line with the wind at their back, and another chance to close this gap now as they trail by 14.
I'll tell you, that kickoff was huge for Dixie.
Into the wind.
You get a chance, Ricks, that is to maybe field a short kickoff, get good field position, take the ball down there, get a nice return, get some momentum, some excitement for your team. And Dixie, they kick the ball out of the back of the end zone into the wind.
Momentum now clearly on Dixie's side, and Ricks College will try to do something about that right here. Trailing 21-7. First and 10 at their own 20. Tom Pace, the lone back in the backfield. He has the ball on the handoff from Ryan Harris out to the 23-yard line, and that's a gain of 3, bringing up a 2nd and 7. Ryan Harris, well, actually, Tom Pace is the workhorse now on the ground for the Vikings.
And what they did, they put 2 wide outs, 2 tight ends, 1 back in the backfield, trying to isolate and give Pace a chance to make something happen up the middle, but Dixie's defense shutting it down.
2nd and 7 from the 23. Pace again in the backfield behind Harris. Harris is going to pass. Sets up. Has a receiver. Ben Rex across the 30. That's good enough for a first down all the way out to the 34. Danny Robinson, the leading tackler on this Rebel team, makes the stop. And that's the first time we've called his name today.
And Ben Rex has been waiting for a chance to get out there and do something. From Bellflower, California, his brother, Byron Rex, you might remember him, tight end for BYU, was all whack in his days there as a tight end for the Cougars. And Rex, actually a pretty good surfer. He likes to surf. Nice job, concentration, ball gets tipped, finds it, and comes down with it. First down.
Rex made some waves there with that his first pass completion of the day. And this pass goes to Tom Pace. And Tom Pace is close to another first down. He has it as he makes the catch to the 45-yard line.
And this is what we're talking about. Distributing the ball. You get the ball to Rex. Now they take their eyes off the running back for a second. Then you're back to Pace out of the backfield.
Another first down. Second consecutive first down for the Vikings. Now they're at their own 45-yard line. Trying to get something going here as they trail now by 14, 21-7. Here comes the blitz. Ryan Harris gets away and takes it himself for a gain of 4 up to the 49-yard line. Heads up play by the quarterback there. he was going to get mauled and then decided to just take it up himself.
It almost looked like a design quarterback draw, but what happened was there were people in his face so quick that he decided to take it upfield. Got a 5-yard gain, 2nd down and 6.
Ball right at midfield. 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Rebels lead by 14, 21-7. Harris is going to pass. He wants to go deep, but nobody's there. He's being pressured by Anton Fowler, and Fowler hangs on to his ankles while his teammates finish the job.
And give Palapoy some credit there because he came in there, had a chance, then slipped all the way down to his ankles, able to hang on and at least give the rest of the Dixie Rebels a chance to get in and finish the job. Look at the pressure. Palapoy coming in. Comes around the outside, breaking free from his man. Goes down. Look, he's got his ankle. He said, no, you're not going anywhere.
A loss of 4 on the play. 3rd and 10. Split backs in the backfield behind Ryan Harris. Harris will pass. Got a Ben Rex wide open. Tries to make the spectacular one-hand catch at the 30, but couldn't hang on. But, oh, boy. There was a mistake in coverage there as Patrick Sandoval was 5 or 10 yards away from the intended receiver Rex, and if that ball had been a little lower, that would have been a big gain for the Vikings.
Nice job by Rex to get open. You see him, he's coming on the near side, and then he breaks it out, able to get behind the defender, went up with one hand and couldn't bring it down.
Aaron Edmonds back to punt near his own 30. Ethan Ross standing at his own 10 to receive this punt. This is a low line driver, and this swing will sail into the end zone. No chance for any kind of return. So the Rebels now will take over at their own 20-yard line, leading by 14, 21-7. We have just over 5 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. And Alema, this will be a telling tale right here. If the Vikings can stand up and get this offense off the field quick and give their offense a chance to come in, this right here is a very crucial part in the game because they do not want to have Dixie run off a lot of time, and especially they don't want him to score now.
And they're capable of doing that. They want to make sure that they get their offense one more chance in the third quarter to score. That means they got to shut down Dixie right now.
1st and 10 at the 20. Quinn Hampton pitches to Tony Nielsen. Nielsen around the left side, up across the 25. Well, actually, they'll mark him down right inside the 25-yard line for a gain of 5. That will bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Rebels as they try now to work the clock and have an established drive here.
Nielsen just following his blockers, trying to pick a hole, has to jump over a bunch of guys lying on the ground, but able to gain ground. Good gain, 5 yards.
2nd and 5 from the 25. Hand off to Nielsen. Fumble on the play. Nielsen lost the handle on the exchange from Quinn Hampton, and the Ricks College Vikings have the ball, and that is exactly what they needed to get this thing turned around. And that's exactly what the Dixie Rebels did not want to do, to have this thing get turned around.
And that's exactly what this crowd needed to get back in the game. We've been sitting here wondering if there was anybody in front of us, and all of a sudden a roar coming from the stadium seats, and Ricks has a chance to get back in this game.
This place holds about 6,500 fans, and 5,000 of them are right under us, and they're pounding on the seats right now. All right, first big break of the game for Ricks College. 1st and 10 on the turnover at the 23-yard line. Harris hands off to Sharman, has some room down across the 15 to the 14-yard line, and that's going to be a gain of 9 to bring up 2nd and 1.
So far, Pace has been carrying the load. This is a counter, steps to the left, comes back to the right, got some good blocks down the field, and then just makes it work from that point on. But it's good to see the Sharman getting some carries. They need to get him some balls and distribute the running game as well as the passing game.
That's only his 4th carry of the game, and he was minus yardage before that play. Here's Harris. He's got a man wide open, almost caught in the end zone. And the receiver there
Was Pace.
was Pace.
The thing that set this up was the play before, the play action, able to get the corner to bite. Pace gets around him, but just can't make the grab. Harris hasn't been on target today. like he normally is.
Completed 62% of his passes, and today he's been a little bit off. 3rd and 1 at the 14-yard line. Handoff to Sharman. He's got the first down. He may have a touchdown. He does. Tyler Sharman, touchdown from 13 yards out. And the Vikings have put themselves right back into this one. He was
play
untouched.
by Ricks. Everybody's coming right now. If you take a look, they bounce it outside, clog up the middle, and Sharman is clear into the end zone.
Aaron Edmonds on for the extra point attempt. To try to pull the Vikings within 7. Low snap, but was able to pick it up. That's the backup quarterback. 3 plays, 22 yards for the touchdown. It only took 31 seconds, and the Vikings are right back in this ball game. 3:51 remaining in the third. It is now 21-14. Rebels still lead by 7. Tension here with a 13-yard touchdown run from Tyler Sharman. And the score now, Rebels lead by 7, 21-14. And the kickoff sails over the head of Ethan Ross. And the Rebels will start once again at their own 20-yard line. And obviously they want to do something different than they did last time. Establish momentum, keep a drive, and now the caller's getting a little bit tighter now. It's back to a 7-point game.
That's right, and the coaching staff on the sidelines, offensive coaches especially, telling their guys, I don't care what you do. You know, even if we have to punt, the last thing you want to do is turn the ball over. Turn the ball over in our territory, and they come away with the score. Now the momentum has really shifted. He's telling his offense, go back, reestablish the momentum, get it back on our side.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line, 3:46 remaining here in the third quarter. Hampton back to pass, going deep again. It's almost intercepted by Josh Thompson. Right in the hands of Thompson. He couldn't hang on. That ball just fluttered in that wind. Pass was intended for Wyatt Gines. He had a step on Thompson, but the ball was not there. That's probably the poorest pass that Hampton's thrown all day.
It is, and the thing you hope right now is that they don't stop throwing the ball just because of that one pass there. What they need to do is try and go back to Ware, try and find him underneath, maybe throw to a running back out of the backfield, reestablish the passing play so that the run can be more effective.
2nd and 10 at the 20. Hampton. Here comes the pressure. He's going deep again, has Ethan Ross, and it's a jump ball, and let's see if it's picked off or not. Yes, it is. The 2nd consecutive turnover for the Rebels. Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson, who just made the deflection and dropped the last pass, made amends for it that time. Jump ball, he came down with it. Interception, the Vikings are in business again.
You see Hampton, he's got all kinds of time, and then he lofts it. Ill-advised pass. Great job. Going up by Thompson out of Rexburg, Idaho. You think they love him here?
He just out-muscled Ethan Ross on that play. Ryan Harris now scrambling out of trouble. There's the big guy who misses him, and Harris will go out of bounds. No gain, but boy, that had to be a scary sight. If Harris saw the big 6'5", 330-pound